The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my own body from the multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally, cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, everything from medical to cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy. These experiences led us to discover the recipe that became known as the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox, cleanse the body, and then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-Day Healing Retreat. We have helped thousands of people just like you get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. If you want to know what that looks like, go to livingwaterscleanse.com and click on the video 4 Natural Laws of Healing, or call the office at 208-378-9911. Hi everyone, David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Living Waters Wellness Center is Idaho's largest colon hydrotherapy center and known for its 10-day cleanse and healing retreat. Each week, we provide you the necessary education and tools to detox and heal the body following the 4 Natural Laws of Healing. To learn more details about the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, 4 Natural Laws of Healing. If you miss any parts of the show or you want to re-listen to certain segments, be sure to subscribe to our podcast, WholeBodyDetoxShow.com, found on any of the national podcast platforms. If you got an app on your phone, if you don't, download one. You can do the search term right there and it'll pull right up. Or go to the URL, WholeBodyDetoxShow.com. Well, we're heading into the holidays, and many of you are probably going to imbibe and overeat, and you've probably been to all the parties, and maybe you've got some gut issues and are being exasperated by what you've imbibed in. Well, Living Waters Wellness Center is your friend to help you clear out the old junk in the trunk so you can get your colon rolling. And when you get your colon rolling, then everything else is going to work so much better. You'll see in the video, 4 Natural Laws of Healing, the connections from every organ in your body, whether it's your arms, your legs, your feet, your eyes, your ears, your spleen, your heart, your liver, your kidneys, your adrenals. Everything connects to the gut. How the gut lives is how you live. So you want to take good care of it. You want to address it. And you'll learn more about that in the webinar, the 4 Natural Laws of Healing. So I know it's this time of year, those just things happen and you're tempted and maybe you have sugar addictions and cravings. Those too can go away, just like they did with me years ago. I was addicted to all the sugars. My mother-in-law used to make me a whole pan of fudge every Christmas, just for me. I would probably not get past 2 or 3 days and eat a whole pan of fudge. Today, if you gave me one piece of that fudge, my teeth would immediately hurt. I would feel ill because basically I'm jamming so much sugar and toxins, I don't know what products she used, but into my body, and I would not feel good because I've cleaned out my body so much. When your body is clean and humming like mine, when you eat the toxins, you know it right away. Your teeth hurt, your body doesn't feel good. And again, if you're already feeling that way with the gut issues and so forth, come down and seek out the services of doing colon hydrotherapy. You're going to learn more about it in that webinar, the 4 Natural Laws of Healing. But today we're going to discuss some other topics that's very important. Had an issue come up, and I want to know how you, the listeners, would handle a situation like this. Smokers, for smoking your beef out on your back patio or whatever, are very popular. Of course, they create a lot of smoke. So I had a neighbor get one. And it was pretty cool. And the other neighbors checked it out and thought, gee, I want a smoker too. And then the third neighbor says, yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'm going to get a smoker. Next thing you know, everyone's out in their patios smoking with their smokers. The problem is all that smoke is wafting onto my property. And not only that, it's seeping through the windows. I can't go up my backyard and enjoy anything because the smoke is constant all the time. The question I pose to you, my friends, listening today, what would you do? Would you approach your neighbors and say, cut it out, turn off those smokers? Would you, and if they said, no, we're not going to, we like our smokers. We're going to leave them on 24 hours a day. We love our smoked beef. Would you file a complaint with the city? And under what authority would the city have the right to shut those smokers down? Do we have private property rights in this country? still? Could you stop someone from polluting your property? I'm going to guess most of you would say, well, yeah, that makes sense, David. Why would someone have the right to continue to pollute your space, your property? Well, there's an invisible smoke that's out there that's going 24 hours a day, and probably all your neighbors have them now, and it's called Wi-Fi. We like the ability to have those Wi-Fi devices sending that signal to our phones and our computers and our iPads and our game stations and so forth. The problem with it is you can't see it, you can't smell it, you don't even know what's happening until it's too late. When I say it's too late, some of you may know that they're affecting you. Some of you may be experiencing headaches. You'd be experiencing tinnitus, insomnia, headaches, nosebleeds and ear bleeds. You may just be simply tired. You may have some skin abnormalities, irregular heartbeats, maybe going into AFib, like my friend has. Cognitive impairment, anger, behavior issues, anxiety, depression, suicidal. Maybe you're trying to conceive a child and you can't. You can't figure out why this is. Well, maybe you're carrying a cell phone in your pocket. We know, as evidenced by Dr. Martin Paul back in episode number 59, that this affects sperm counts in males. So we got a big problem with all this electromagnetic frequency coming at us. And it's overwhelming us. I get an email at least once a week from a person that lives downtown, and the poor gal, if you read the email, you'd think this is somebody who is obviously off their rocker. She's not, I'm sure. Because when this affects you so bad, what do you do? I mean, I know of people, I've read of people who live out in the wilderness because they can't even get around the cities now. I know many people, including my wife, who when she goes downtown, Boise, Idaho, because there's so many of these towers now, it really affects her. My good friend Hank, who's been on the show before, back in episode number 28, and if you go over to idahoansforsafetechnology.org, Hank will show you what happened to him. He's been AFib over 20 times. The doctor said the solution for him is to have a heart ablation surgery. The cost of that, $150,000. He finally got convinced to do that. Has it changed his health status? Not really. He's still affected by it. If he goes downtown and goes to a meeting, let's say at the courthouse, and he's there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, the next day his day's toast. He's got to recover. There are many of you out there that experience this. You just don't know it. One of the ways to find out how much radiation you're getting is to get yourself a good meter. For just slightly under $400, we recommend the Safe and Sound 2 meter. So just type in Safe and Sound 2 in your search engine and it should pop up. Excellent meter to see what's happening. There are so many sources of electromagnetic frequency. Ming talked about it in episode 102. We talked about this just a few weeks ago on ways to help mitigate the damage and help make your body more coherent. But I would suggest you go around and measure your electrical meter. If you got an electrical meter on the backside of a bedroom, man, I would move out of that bedroom. I would figure out some way to shield it. Gas meters have smart meters on them. In this town, they're starting to do it on the water meters as well. The problem with these things, they pulse 24 hours a day, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about it, because how often do you need to read a meter? Once a month. Why don't they have these things just pulse once a month? Boom, signal sent, signal received, figure up the bill, you're good. Why pulse 24 hours a day? You'd think with technology, they would be able to do that. Just set a date on it. Shoot it out the first of the month, every month. There you go. Problem solved. But no, they pulse all the time. Some cities have adopted ordinances where they can opt out of these smart meters. Idaho does not have that currently. Wi-Fi is only a problem. If you go into your cell phone, you will read the dangers of your cell phone. Now, as we mentioned in episode 102 with Ming, there are some devices you can put on your phone. Again, it makes it more coherent. It's not perfect. It's better than nothing. I tell you what I do, no matter where I go. If I have the phone on me and in my pocket, it's on airplane mode. I turn off all the Wi-Fi, the hotspot, the Bluetooth. I turn off all that. Even though I have a device that I know is very good and it helps mitigate the damage. Again, I'm just thinking like, do I need to have the phone on 24 hours a day? I really don't. And if you got your phone in your room at night, turn it off. Don't have that next to your head. It's very, very dangerous. It's going to cause you problems long term. We come back in a minute. We're going to talk about some things that are going on in the state of Idaho and in here in your local cities, and things that you can do as a citizen to help mitigate the damage of what is being gone. Because I submit to you, this is the biggest pandemic ever. There are lawsuits being brought. There's American Disabilities Act case going to be heard. And so there's lots of things to consider about how we get our technology. This invisible pollution I'm talking about is, of course, electromagnetic radiation that emits from not only our cell phones, but our Wi-Fi, our Bluetooth devices, and of course the cell towers, and our meters, and the gas meters, electrical meters, water meters. There's so doggone many sources. So if you're experiencing problems, like I suggested in the last part, get one of those Safe and Sound 2 Pros. It's very revealing. Those of you who are driving around these brand new cars and trucks that got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, I just measured a truck, a Ford truck, all fancy, and it was off the charts. It's like sitting in an X-ray machine all the time. I mean, there's so much free radical damage bombarding your cells and tissues. And, some of you may not know it. Now, for me, what I experience when I am in a truck like that is I get tired. And so it's really telling. I mean, you'll be driving a car down the road and you're getting tired from your own pollution in your own vehicle and you don't know it. So you can go into the settings and you can turn that stuff off. I know it's convenient to take your phone calls via Bluetooth and all that stuff, but it's not safe for your body all the time. Now, again, as I mentioned in episode 102, there are things that can help make more coherence to your cells. It's called a GIA device. There's one specifically for the trucks. I can't remember the price of it, but it's called the office at 208-378-9911. It's really amazing how much it helps your body to handle it. Now, some of you simply just, even with that, it's still a problem. But this is, living long-term and living well and keeping your brain and cognitive functions is job one. And I'm going to submit to you that we are heading into a landslide of so much illness. And for those of you who are skeptical about that, just go to ehtrust.org. The EH Trust, Environmental Trust Company, or Environmental Health Trust is a 501c3 organization, and they teamed up with the Children's Defense Fund ran by Bobby Kennedy Jr. last year, and they sued the FCC. And they won in court. They put 11,000 documents in the record at the D.C. Court of Appeals. And the judges there, 3 judges, ruled against the FCC and told them they'd been arbitrary, capricious, and illegal. In other words, what you guys determined in 1996 was safe was BS. There was really no safety studies. What they took is they had this SARS rating of how fast this 6'4" plastic dummy heats up. It was a completely stupid, bogus test to begin with. So we know there's damage, and how we know that? Well, I interviewed Dr. Kent Chamberlain on episode number 43. Kent's worked on towers his whole life, thought there was no problem with them, until he was commissioned by the governor of New Hampshire, the only governor in the U.S. who commissioned a study to determine the health effects of cell towers. 13 scientists were commissioned. And when they were done, 18 months later, they said, oh my gosh, these things do cause harm. This is a big deal. 12 of the 13 scientists said yes. One scientist said no. That scientist was paid by the wireless industry. And in fact, he wrote his own report. The industry calls it a minority report. Yeah, a minority of one that said there's basically nothing to see here. So, it's a $1 trillion industry, guys. There's a lot of money in it, and the wireless companies have obfuscated the truth so many times. For those of you who are in county or city governments, maybe you've already met with a wireless person. They'll tell you how wonderful they are. They probably have told you that you are preempted from determining where these towers can go. That is absolutely BS. That is not true. In fact, here in Ada County, we've got a cell tower denied in Star, Idaho not too long ago, last May to be exact, because they did not prove that there was a gap in coverage. So if you're connected to any kind of government, first thing you got to ask these wireless providers is show us your proof there's a gap in coverage. Now, what they're going to provide you with is a nice, pretty map. Basically, it's just a bunch of BS. It's a colored map, and they color these things using models based upon what they think is a gap in coverage. Now, what they should do, what we have done, Idahoans for Safe Technology, is we've taken our own meters out and we've measured the signal coming off of these towers. And we've proved that there's no gap in coverage. So we're just ordinary citizens taking things into our own hands, going out and say, well, how much signal, where's the signal coming from? Which towers are signaling in this area? And in that case, we proved without a doubt. In the second case, we're having a hearing tonight, actually, that this one's in Eagle, Idaho. Eagle, Idaho is taking a whole different course. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But again, they did not prove that there is a significant gap in outdoor coverage of phone calls. Now, what the wireless will tell you, well, it's got to measure what's in the house, what's in the cars. No, that's not how the law reads. The law reads outdoor signal only. Can you get 5 bars in a cell phone? Then what the industry will do is they will try to obfuscate the truth again by fuzzing up numbers at you that you don't understand. But let me tell you, when you go to a city government and you apply for a building permit, do you just give them a colored picture and say, here we go? And then, of course, the planning guy will say, well, where's the sewer going in? Where's the electrical panel? How many amps of power is going to be in the building? By the way, what's the strength of the steel you're putting in this building, sir? And how much concrete? And what's the depth of it? And on and on. No. The wireless industry's maps are just simply colored maps. That's it. No specifications whatsoever. Boise City fell prey to that. Even though we tried to alert them that, hey, these maps are bogus, their ears were closed because they believe there's nothing that they can do. Well, that's not true. 600 plus cities that we know of have changed their code across the country to determine where these towers should go. Let me tell you what the New Hampshire study found. The New Hampshire study found that the health effects begin to drop off at 1,650 feet. Begin to drop off. Here in Eagle, Idaho, there's a tower out off a floating feather. That tower is just 2,000 feet from my friend's home. And the problem is the tower's putting out so much power that even in his home, he's affected. Now, he's taken measures. He's used a thing called wide shield paint. He's put aluminum screens over his windows. He's done everything he can to mitigate the damage. But even with that, because he's between two towers and because the power is so high, it's affected him and his family. And not only that, but we discovered it's affected 17 other homes as well. In Pittsfield, Massachusetts, there has now been about almost 3 years that people have not been able to go into their home after Verizon put a tower up about 300 yards from these people's homes. So a pretty good distance, about 900 feet. But yet, there's 3 people with glioblastoma brain cancer. There are people with migraine headaches when they go in their home. There are people with brain fog. I can't remember all the other issues right now, but it's affected these people. They can't go to their home. 20 homeowners. In fact, the Pittsfield Health Department issued a cease and desist to Verizon and say, stop it. Move this tower. You as a government need to understand you have the rights at the very basic. Even if you have a crappy ordinance now, you still have rights under the Land Use Planning Act to determine where these towers go for making phone calls. Now, there's another type of tower that is going in as well, and that's a broadband tower. We're going to talk about that. That's known as a 5G tower. Broadband is internet service. We're going to talk about that when we come back and where you can put these towers. It's a whole different ballgame for broadband. Telephone calls, you can't keep towers out of your community, but you can determine where they go based upon aesthetics and where's the most logical place to put them. Now, Dalton Gardens, Idaho, very smart city. After this lady worked for 2 years to get in front of her government, they finally heard her out. And they decided, oh my gosh, we had no idea. Let's talk to the expert. So they hired the expert. He came in and wrote a beautiful ordinance, a model for the whole country. And in that case, to prove a gap in coverage, if you go in their town, you're going to have to show your drop call records, which I think is perfect. Show us your drop call records. Show us that the people are not getting phone calls. That's the best way to do it. But a drive test is the second best way. And of course, spot test is the third best way, which is what we've done as citizens. And you can do that as your own, buying some meters for less than $700. And you can do it on your own. If you want to know more about that, reach out to Idahoans for Safe Technology. Go to the website. So much information on the website, idahoansforsafetechnology.org. And meanwhile, if you want to get some devices that will mitigate your damage, as we discussed in episode number 102 on the Whole Body Detox Show, reach out to Living Waters Wellness Center at 208-3789-911, 208-3789-911. We'll be back in a moment to talk more about how to protect your home property rights.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.
We're back. David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show. Living Waters, of course, is your place to detox after these holidays. I know if after you went out and imbibed, you're going to have some gut issues, digestive issues. By the way, when you hear this, you might want to come down this week and get some digestive enzymes. So when you over-imbibe or overeat, you've got some digestive enzymes in your gut to help break down that food so your meal goes down a lot better. But meanwhile, if you do overeat, you do eat some stuff you wish you hadn't have, come out and clean it out after the holidays. Reach out to us at 208-378-9911. We've got our 10-day cleanse coming up the first of the year on January 9th. If you want to jump on that, I think we still got a spot or two left. That, my friends, is the most beautiful reset process you could ever consider doing for your body. No better way to do an overhaul than do a 10-day healing retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center. To learn more about what that means, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. At the top, it says 4 Natural Laws of Healing. Click on that link. Watch that webinar, 6 to 8 minutes in length. I give you the data points that you need to understand how you're going to heal your body. So whether you've got arthritis or pain or brain fog, no matter what the issue over the years, we've treated so many different symptoms over the years that have affected people. You name it, we've seen people with ALS, Parkinson's, arthritis, cancer, kidney issues, liver issues, brain fog, of course, all the gut issues, constipation. And we've seen people have some amazing results. And you can see some of those results over there under success stories. So go check that out on the website at livingwaterscleanse.com. We've now got 106 plus episodes up on our podcast. We've been running this show for a little over 2 years now. I thank you guys for continuing to listen to us. So today we're talking about what we can do to mitigate the damages of what's happening to our cities and towns. And one of the big things that's happening is the state is going to take their ARPA money and they're invested in the broadband infrastructure. Now, what is broadband? Well, broadband is simply internet service. That's your Netflix, that's your emails, and so forth. That, my friends, under the law, under the FCC, is a Title I issue. And if you're a city government authority, understand that if a tower is a broadband tower only, like the one that's in Eagle right now, you don't have to follow what is in Title II. Title II is for telecommunications, that's cell phone and text messages only. Different game there. Title I, broadband internet, means you can say no to the heck no. Nowhere in my city are you going to put this, like what Eagle has said. Idaho has said, and Dalton Gardens has said, and Ammon, Idaho has said, and Mountain Home is even wiring their city with fiber optics, is that we're not going to allow these in our cities because we don't want the damage. We don't want the radiation coming into our homes. We don't want that invisible pollution affecting our citizens, which is smart. We just talked this last week, and I learned some new things with some engineers, And they actually said Ammon, Idaho has the best model. And what they did out there is they actually decided to put to every home fiber optics. Fiber optics is faster than coaxial cable. It's way faster than these 5G wireless towers, and it's safer. And as you wire to the premises, you've got speeds that will blow your mind. 1 gig up, 1 gig down, or higher. You don't get anywhere close to that with these 5G towers. These 5G towers aren't very fast, and they're not for making phone calls. They talk about that in their advertising cleverly. Oh, it's fast and blah, blah, blah. It's not for phone calls, guys. And the problem is that if you're concerned about property values, these towers, you put a tower in your front yard, which in Boise, they can put them 20 feet from your home, take a 25% hit in your value. 25% decrease. You bought a $500,000 home. That means you've got over $100,000 negative from the get-go. Once that tower goes in, you've lost that much value. And I would submit to you, some of you probably may not be like what's in Pittsfield and other places that's happened, may not be able to sell your home at all. It's a problem. It's a big problem. Why would you want an invisible pollution, invisible smoking up your home? Well, you wouldn't. No reasonable, right-minded person would. We got to change this. And it's going to take the activism of you, the citizens, to change it. And if you want to reach out and help to us, you can call me directly at our office, 208-378-9911. You can go on donate on Idahoans for Safe Technology.org, Idahoans for Safe Technology.org. Lots of ways to help out. We are a band of a small group that have been working in this now for over 2.5 years. And so when we've had some successes and we've had some not so successes, because it's the amount of it's just education, getting these governments educated on what they can and can't do. Because if the wireless companies come into your city and get to your local attorney, okay, I get it. I'm preempted. I can't do anything. Yeah, sure. I'll do whatever you say. And that's really what I've seen happen in some of the cities and counties. Well, we can't do anything about it. Well, yes, you can. You have the Land Use Planning Act. Go look at that. Go read that. You can determine where these things can go. It doesn't have to be right next to a home. It doesn't have to go on a fire station. Hello, Boise County. Boise County really screwed up. They had all the ability to do the right thing, and they really messed up. They really screwed up. Now, what else is the cause out in the forest? Well, we know from episode number 59 with Dr. Martin Paul, who is an EMF expert. He's testified before the National Institutes of Health. He says, David, these things actually increase the terpenes in the trees. So basically, it's like you've got gas on these trees, and if a fire gets going, it just blows these trees up, and you got a huge fire. And of course, we're putting them all over the state. Wireless like was to have them everywhere. But the cool thing about this broadband task force is we got this money, and here's what I submit should be done. Fiber optics is the safest, most secure technology. Blazing speeds, as I mentioned earlier. And if in 1930 we could wire every home in America with electricity and phone, why can't we take wired fiber optics all the way to the last user? We can. As I've been looking at the budget of what a lot of these local places like Fairfield, Idaho County, etc., up in some of those smaller areas, they're saying, to get to the last, all the homes in their area, it's going to cost roughly about $12,000 to $15,000 per home. Now, the problem with cell tower equipment, one, it wears out. They got a 5-year shelf life. Fiber optics, 50 years. The engineers we talked to said, yes, it's the best model. It's safe, it's secure. Do it like Ammon, Idaho has done it. Do it like Dalton Gardens. Do it like Eagle, Idaho is doing right now. They're wiring their citizens with fiber optics to the premises and basically told industry, go pound sand. We don't want your towers in our neighborhoods, decreasing our property values and harming our citizens. Now, unfortunately, still some towers there that are up that probably shouldn't be there. But if you want to go see where the towers are around you, go to antennasearch.com. Antennasearch.com, and you'll see how many towers are within a 3 or 5 mile radius of you. You're going to be shocked. I did a search up in Ketchum, Idaho, where my kids live, and I was kind of blown away. I had no idea there was that many towers. Now, some of the towers are point to point, but the big towers for phone And broadband is throughout the state is amazing. And we don't have to have it. Look at, if we're going to dig once, as this policy is by the Broadband Task Force, if we're going to dig once, let's dig once. Let's dig all the way to the premises. Let's put these things on telephone poles or in the ground or whatever. Let's put fiber optics to the premises. We all paid for it. You've been paying $7 to $10 a month on your cell phone bill for a long, long time, and that money got diverted, and you paid for it. Today we're talking how to mitigate the damages caused by electromagnetic frequencies and what you can do to educate your government officials. First of all, you probably want to reach out to some experts, and that's become Idahoans for safetechnology.org. I'm actually the president of that organization, and we've been a group of been going and educating governments for now 2.5 years. We've learned a lot along the way. Never thought I would be here in this position doing this, but here I am. So look, guys, there are better ways for us to use technology. We want to be smart about it. We're in a state that loves freedom. Why would you want cell towers tracking your every move, sucking up your data? These 5G broadband towers are simply for that. And of course, to help steal away some internet service from the cable companies like Sparklight and others. But we know that it's not safe. We know that it decreases property values. We know that it's a pollution that is causing harm. Over 11,000 documents in the record at the D.C. Court of Appeals. So you can't deny the fact that it does cause harm. I know people here in the city who've been significantly harmed by it. And if you don't want glioblastoma, brain cancer, tinnitus, and all the other things we mentioned earlier when we began the show, you're going to want to be away from towers. So call your local governments tomorrow and say, hey, no more towers in neighborhoods. Where should these towers be? They should be out in the foothills. These towers, these big boomer towers, get these towers up in the air 200 feet. If you drive around the county, you're going to see towers 40 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet, right next to homes. Too much power, too close to home, causing a lot of damage. Most people don't know what's happening to them. They don't know why they have the brain fog. They don't know why all of a sudden they're in AFib. They don't know why they're in cancer. They don't know why they have ADHD. They don't know why their kids can't concentrate anymore. They don't know why their kids have tummy aches when they go to school, because their school is loaded with wireless technology, with their iPads and their laptops and so forth. Smart schools across the country have changed that. They've went to hardwired. They've hardwired all the iPads, all their laptops. It can be done. Costs a few dollars more, but you know what? What's your health worth? These kids should not be near all this frequency. It is so harming their developing brains. Yet I see over here Bishop Kelly put one right there in the baseball field, right next to the soccer field. I can tell you this, I will not referee a soccer game there ever again. Why would I want to be at the field getting blasted by that stuff? I don't, and I won't. Block that school from refereeing. So look, what's the best thing you can do? You can get involved. You can donate money at idahoansforsafetechnology.org. You can call your local governments today, and say, look, we want you guys to write a good, solid ordinance and protect our property rights. We're Idahoans. We like our property rights. We like our freedom. We like our privacy. Keep these out of neighborhoods. Put these towers at least 3,000 to 4,000 feet away from homes. Get them up in the foothills. Get those towers high in the air so they waft out over. When it comes to broadband, wire it to the premises. Fiber optics in the ground is the best way to go. And look at, like I said, in 1930, if you could put electricity to every home in America, in 2022, we can put fiber optics to every home in America. We don't have to jam, as I've heard them talk about, these providers. Yeah, we're going to jam that signal right down into these homes through these trees. Yeah, that's just foolish. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. If you want to avoid Alzheimer's, if you want to avoid brain cancer, you got to stay away from the towers. If you want to protect yourself from infertility issues, get the cell phones out of your pockets. Go listen to podcast number 102 with Ming Lovejoy. There are some things you can do to put on your devices to help mitigate the damage. But I would submit to you the best way to mitigate damage altogether is to shield yourself. Let's put the fiber optics in the ground throughout every home in the state of Idaho. We got $2 billion surplus. We got all this ARPA money. Let's do the right thing. Let's put the right thing in the ground, and so we have high speeds. The speeds will be blazing. Look, these 5G monopoles that are putting in Boise right now are pretty slow. They are slower than copper wire. They're not blazing fast. And they have to be every 200 to 300 feet to work properly. Every 200 to 300 feet, maybe 500 feet max, they can go to connect. And their course premise, we're going to have these smart cars. We're going to have these cars that can drive without anybody driving them. Well, do we really need that? I don't think we need that. We've got by with driving our own cars for years. And I don't think we need to have this. We don't need to be spied on every 2 seconds. And so much of this technology comes out of China, and I just don't trust that. Do you? I don't. Let's stay free. Let's stay free. Let's keep our health. Do the right things. Listen to episode 102. Go back and listen to that. That's a really good episode. Come see us at Living Waters Wellness Center. We'll talk to you about the things you can put on your phones. And so many of us on the board, now that we know, we're hardwiring our homes. We're getting rid of the Wi-Fi's. We don't have our cell phones in our bedrooms at night on. If you get a meter, go out and buy that Sound Pro 2 meter and take that, go into your schools where your kids are. Turn that thing on. You're going to be flipping aghast at how much these kids are getting bombarded with their developing brains. You walk into these buildings downtown. I was in a hotel in Denver not too long ago, and I put on my meter, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, it was high. Every floor's got Wi-Fi, right? So I found the best place in my room to be, to sleep. I turned my head, faced my head differently so I wasn't getting as much frequency. I mean, it was amazing. I was totally shocked. It's too bad we don't know what we don't know until sometimes it's too late. Look, we have a chance to make a difference and change the course of action of the state. You reach out to these people in the broadband task force. You can go on to the state website. Reach out to your representatives in the state of Idaho and tell them, say, hey, we want wired fiber optics all the way to the premises. We don't want these cell towers up and down our roads and highways. We don't want them everywhere. Let's keep our citizens safe. Let's protect our pollinators. Let's protect our farming community because we need bees. We need these pollinators. We like our birds. We like our fowl. These towers affect all those people, all those things. They affect all the wildlife as well as affecting you. So we know what we want. We want wired to the premises. We want fiber optics everywhere. Simple to do. Well, it may not be so simple in some cases, but we know that if we can do it with electricity in 1930, we can do it in 2022. We can put fiber optics everywhere. Go check out episode 102 for devices you can do to mitigate. Look on your phone. You'll see the disclaimer on your phone of what damage it's causing. Another great site is ehtrust.org. That's Environmental Health Trust site. The Children's Health Defense Fund, Robert Kennedy, is now taking a lawsuit. It's an Americans Disability Act lawsuit because there's so many people harmed by this. What do you do with people like my friend, right? He can't go to certain areas in this town because it just causes him harm. It causes all of us harm. He knows it. He knows it. It makes him tired. It makes him sick. He has memory loss when it happens. It's a big deal. And now his kids are being affected by it. Their heart rates go up. They get around it. We don't put these things on schools, folks. We don't put cell phone towers on top of churches or in parking lots of churches or schools. Absolutely ridiculous. No reason to do that. I know you churches and schools like, hey, we're getting paid some money. It's not worth it. You don't want to do that. So those are some resources for you. IdahoansForSafeTechnology.org. Every tower in the county is listed there. If you want to reach out to us and learn about our healing process and how we can help you recover your body from all the imbibing this holiday season and give you a new chance on losing that weight or recovering your health, check out our website, livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, or you can call us at 208-378-9911. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center. I'll be back again next week. You have a blessed week.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.